be making a festive pumpkin cake with Trader Joe's crunchy cookie butter frosting. And if you guys haven't had this before, it has some really great flavors of gingerbread in it. It's like the consistency of a peanut butter, but it tastes like a cookie. So I think it'll go really well with the pumpkin cake flavor. We're going to start off by mixing our wet ingredients, which includes 1 can of pumpkin. And this is 100% pure pumpkin. Next, we're going to add in the oil. You can use canola oil or vegetable oil, whatever you have on hand. So we need 2/3 of a cup. I'm going to measure that out real quick. The next thing we're going to add is 1 cup of sugar. And then we're also going to add 3 eggs to this mixture. 1. 3. Now we're going to mix up these ingredients until they're nice and combined. For your dry ingredients, you're going to start with flour. The important thing in baking is obviously you're trying to get a very nice and fluffy cake, cupcake, or cookie. And the way to do that is by using a spoon for your flour. So measuring it out with a spoon, it keeps the flour from getting too compacted. So this keeps, if you're having problems getting cakes and cupcakes that are too dense and don't feel like they're that fluffy bakery kind, this is a little secret. So measure out 2 cups. Takes a little bit more time with the spoon, but you get a better flavor anyway. Okay, there's 1. The next thing that we're going to add is baking powder. So we're going to add 2 teaspoons. So you got your little teaspoon, and you want to make sure these are level so that you're getting the correct amount. Baking is really a science. Cooking is more of an art. It's harder to play around with things because sometimes you get a few disasters. And then we're also going to do 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Get it even. Once we've got both of those in, now it's the fun part. We have some cinnamon that we need to add in. Cinnamon goes great with pumpkin flavoring. We're going to add a teaspoon of that. It's hard to get the cap off of these, but if you can, that's easier than pouring it in. Yeah, about a teaspoon. And now we're going to do the pumpkin pie spice. We've got a teaspoon of that. Pumpkin pie spice is a bunch of different spices combined that all taste really good with pumpkin. It already has some cinnamon in it, but we added more to bump up the flavor. Next thing we're going to do is 1 teaspoon of salt. That in there. Now we're going to do with all the dry ingredients, give it a quick stir. Now we're going to mix it together with the pumpkin puree. So just add it in a little bit at a time. Make sure to mix it in pretty well. sometimes it gets a little messy. And the last bit there. Now, we're going to put it into the baking dish. We have it already preheated to 350 degrees. You want to spray your baking dish with cooking canola oil. And then we're just going to add in this mixture so that it coats the bottom of the pan. Spread it around in the pan so it coats it pretty evenly. So now we're going to stick it in the oven for about 18 to 22 minutes. When I look at recipes, I really consider the baking time to be more of a guideline. Every oven is different, and some ovens can be really hot, some of them aren't calibrated to the right temperature, so it's really important to check on it every few minutes. I'm probably going to set my timer to about 15 minutes, and after that I'll keep checking every minute or so. Now we're going to get started on the cookie butter frosting. So we're going to start with a 1/2 cup of butter, which I've let soften for the past hour or so. And then we're going to add in the cookie butter, which is about a 1/2 cup. And I'm going to start by mixing this at a low level. I have a mixer, but if you have a hand mixer, that also works. So, okay, you just want to get it to the point where you're not seeing huge chunks of butter anymore. Now we're going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla. 1 teaspoon. Pour that right in there. And mix that in. The next thing that we have is powdered sugar to sweeten it up and to thicken it up. I have about 2.5 cups here. I'll probably start adding in about 1/2 cup at a time. You don't want to add them too much at once or else it won't absorb into the mixture. So just add in a bit here. I'm going to turn on my mixer and let it stir it up. And because the peanut butter or the cookie butter already is pretty thick, I have some milk on the side. You can add a little bit at a time just to help loosen it up and add in the powdered sugar. Now at this point there's a lot of powdered sugar on the side. A little bit of milk. Now we're going to check on the cake. It's getting all brown around the edges, so I'm going to take a toothpick and make sure it comes out clean. That seems perfect. Okay. Take it out of the oven. Turn it off. And now we're going to let it cool just a little bit before we frost it. So now to frost the cake, you just take chunks at a time, make sure to get it pretty even, and spread it out over your cake. Thanks for joining me on how to make a pumpkin cake with Trader Joe's cookie butter frosting. To get the recipe, check out Katy's Kitchen on Facebook. Thanks.